Welcome, everyone. If you could all please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have public comment first, but before I open it up to public comment, because I see public here, I'd just like to welcome our new board members, Bob and Gina. They're taking on new roles here, so welcome. And this is being recorded, just so you know. If you are going to make any public comments, I just ask that you print your name and address on that sheet at the end of the table. Is anyone going to be speaking? I think I know why you're all here. I have my folder. So we will be addressing it a little bit later in the meeting. So, okay. You're welcome to pull some of the chairs away from the table if you want to sit. We'll try to get through things as quickly as possible. I'd like a motion to approve the November 8th special meeting minutes. I'll move to approve the minutes. Second.
I'll second, although I wasn't there, so I'll have to trust that you're.
So you can abstain, right? You have a quorum, so you can take a vote. So it very well could turn out to be a 1-0-2 vote.
Right, only because
Right.
we have to sort of vote on them and you both were not on the board at the time.
Right.
You had the packet earlier, you read them.
Yeah.
Do you both want to abstain? Which is fine, we'll just put it in the record that way.
I mean, I'll vote to approve it as long as you were present at the meeting, you guys say it's,
Yeah, I mean, we
Accurate.
reviewed them and we've made sure that they've gone through it, unless you saw a typo or something else that was,
I was at this meeting.
Yes,
But
you were in
yeah, so,
attendance.
Yeah,
I read the minutes, I thought.
they were accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have chair advice. Okay, all right, so all in favor of approving the minute that's presented?
aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous, fantastic. We do have two tax refunds. I have the list here. You could take a look at those. And I'd like a motion to approve the tax refunds as presented.
So moved.
Second. Second.
Oh, I don't know, I don't know anything about this.
These are refunds that we bring forward if the tax office has refunds to be made to residents that they've overpaid or there's been something that has to go back to them. So they have to be approved by the Board of Selectmen. So Bob just made a motion to approve these
Sure,
these
I'll
refunds.
second that.
And
Okay.
just for the edification,
Yes.
it's,
Yep.
so what will happen is on a monthly basis, the tax office will send up as the first.
If
step on each-
needed, yeah.
If needed. And so I always took that as it's the recommendation of the tax collector that this board authorized the refund of this amount.
Okay, and also sometimes we will also have cemetery deeds. Okay, so this month we do not. So that, I keep those as placeholders on the agenda, so you'll see them every month. Just so I don't have to keep remembering,
Because
As
you get them.
it's
through
already
them.
there and it's, yeah,
Tax
exactly.
refunds are generally when people like sell cars.
Yeah, or overpayments in their taxes, there may have been, especially if they do it via escrow,
Yeah,
sometimes there's an overpayment that way. So, so you'll see them kind of on a regular basis. No cemetery deeds, Russell Road, then any updates? They're still clearing titles?
Yes, they're still working on title.
Okay, we just wait for them to finish that up. The proposed solar farm, okay. We are waiting for word on a deal with the parcel that's over on Route 69.
I understand they're very close to
Okay.
finalizing their agreement.
Okay, so there will be no solar farm going up over on Bethmore Road at this given time. Knock on wood. Keep
Let's
praying,
wait-
keep your
wait
fingers crossed. Right now, like I said, we're waiting for final word on the proposed deal over there.
So Paul, can I ask, it
Sure.
wouldn't be, the decision not to put the farm there wouldn't be official until this project is finalized, is that correct?
Right, so theoretically,
Yeah,
the town submitted a municipal preference for the solar array to be located on this new location. The developer did some due diligence and determined that there was a solar array facility that was large enough that it could be installed on this parcel, that it made sense for this developer. And as a result, agreed that assuming they could work out details with the owner of that property, that they would relocate. So I kind of knock on wood because until the ink is dry and
Right,
everything.
right. I just wanted
Right.
that clarification, that
Yeah.
until the ink is dry.
Right, the i's are dotted and the
Right,
t's are
right.
crossed, but right now, it is looking very hopeful.
Right.
So we're keeping our fingers crossed that that will be finalized soon.
Okay.
Deep, we actually got some notification on the Simpson property that they have finally approved the survey.
Yes,
So, I did, they do need a couple of additional pieces. One is certification from the town clerk's office that I'm authorized to sign any final documentation. And that was approved back at the May,
2021.
town, to give me authorization to sign any documents for closure on that. So we are in the home stretch with that. That was actually in the works before I took office in 2019. So we are in the home stretch. I do have an appointment to be made for the Inland Wetland Commission, a Kedrick Becker. Do I have a motion to, it was recommended by the chair, Chris Sullivan. So she has sort of vetted him out and made the recommendation to approve him for the Inland Wetland Commission. So can I have a motion to approve? So moved. Second,
Second,
any other conversation or questions?
but just, I mean, I've never been involved in really appointing people. It'd be nice to know in the future, like. The elevator pitch, 1 or 2 sentences, about who it is.
Well, I guess he's been attending meetings, so he's
Okay, I mean,
familiar
that's-
with what's going on.
Yeah,
there,
so
she
that
was
kind of
Very
information,
happy to
yeah,
get him on board, as she had just had a resignation, so he was familiar and she was happy to get him on board, so all in favor of approving Mr. Becker? Aye. Okay, next item, I have received a number of letters from various residents over on Rolling Green and Glenwood Court, and with the recommendation, they would like us to abandon the paper roads that are at the end of both of those roads. So we would be making the recommendation to bring them to a town meeting, because we as the board cannot approve the abandonment. It has to go to a town meeting for the town to vote on the abandonment. So basically, we're just voting to approve, to recommend it to a town meeting. Did I make that clear enough?
yeah, I looked at the
Okay.
GIS maps, there's
Okay.
some,
There's two with the
Paper
straight
roads.
on, there are two straight on, and then there are two that come in.
Right.
On the sides.
and I don't think the town has any plans to, build any roads there.
No. Not that I'm aware of anyway. So can I have a recommendation or a motion to make a recommendation to move these, this to a town meeting?
So moved,
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
aye,
Okay, so those paper roads will go to the town meeting for recommendation for abandonment at the next available town meeting, okay? So, Leslie, grants, want to update us on the grants?
ARPA, most of the money is allocated. We are trying to wrap up all the open projects so that we know exactly what is left, if there is anything left that can be applied to a new or different project. Steep, the 23 grant the work is complete. It is closed. We're waiting for final reimbursement and the state to sign off on our closure papers. The 24 grant will be going out to bid when we have full architectural drawings. The 2 Cabrera grants, the first one for the windows is 90% complete. The second for the gym is out to bid, and that bid opening is later this month. The $1 million DeLauro grant through HUD is a work in progress. As far as the TRIP grant, we have finally heard from DOT, and they have requested some additional information. They want clarification in regards to easements because of moving telephone poles and widening the road. So we are in the process of compiling all that information and getting it over to DOT.
Hold on, we have someone attending. There we go. Okay, all set?
All set.
Perfect. I do ask, I had some other items come to my attention, late Friday and yesterday. And I forgot to put other on this agenda, so can I have a motion to add other items to come before the board, at this point? So that would be number 11, and then adjournment would be number 12. Can I
Do
have
I
a
make the
motion?
motion or
Any-
second?
You can arm wrestle for it either way.
I think it depends on what it is.
Well, it's just free, you'll see, I'm gonna give you this stuff right now, so
I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm gonna move to, add other.
items to be
Yeah.
before the board, fantastic, all in favor?
I,
Aye, okay. First item is going to be, I'm gonna give that to you. Did you pass that copy? This was a letter I received actually this afternoon. This gentleman has requested this in the past, and there was one time where the event actually happened and then COVID hit, so sort of shut us down, and I don't believe he had any other events after this, but he I don't know if he owns or he is part of a board for I don't know if it's a Antique Tools and Trades in Connecticut, a nonprofit club. So he's looking for us to waive the fee for the lodge. I did a little history. I went back in August of 2019. Just so you know, at that time, the Board of Selectmen, it was determined that it was not connected to the Bethany Historical Society. It was an independent group. The Selectmen did not move to waive the rental fee, just so you know the history of previous action on his request. So, I'll give you a chance to read the letter.
do we have a policy that puts different individuals or groups, like if it's a for-profit business, do they pay a certain amount? If it's a nonprofit?
It would be either an in-town organization but like our nonprofits, like the Lions don't pay,
Right,
any of the local connected.
I don't think the town has a written standard policy,
Right.
right? But there's there's past practice, historical practice.
With the local nonprofit groups, like the Lions,
right. So a
And
nonprofit from somewhere else would have to pay the
right,
same rate as everybody
right. I
else.
mean, or they make a request like this, then it's up to the board to determine if they want to give a reduction or waive it completely. Just so you know, we are not making any profit on, we've been trying to gradually raise the fees for the lodge because we're running in a hole with trying to maintain the structure. So just keeping that in mind, you know, do you set a precedent by a non-town associated or affiliated group?
And the other point that I think we should make is that there's a different fee structure for in-town versus out-of-town residents. It is $100 more for out-of-town residents versus in-town residents to rent the facility as it is right now.
If we probably should write down the policy, but I guess whatever the decision had been before, I don't know why
Well,
we
like I
want to
say,
change it.
I mean, I did go, like I say, to the 2019 meeting minutes, and the board at that point had chosen not to waive the fee. Because I don't know if they actually sell items as much as it's a nonprofit. I don't know what their actual
Was
purpose is.
the selectmen's point, do you think there should be a written policy?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be real
It's just-
fancy.
I'm
but
thinking
just,
what I could do is I could work with the finance director and for select woman to prepare a written policy for presentation to the board. And the board then can work from there and consider that and then adopt an actual policy rather than going on historical.
Yeah, I'm
practice.
thinking, just write down what we're doing and then whatever, there must be some couple categories of like town residents, out of town individuals, for profit or, local nonprofits, and then everybody else.
Yeah, because right now, basically what we have is resident or non-resident. It's not based on your particular group. Like if I wanted to rent it, anybody here would get the resident rate. Like if Vin wanted to rent it, he'd be an out of town, he'd get the non-resident rate.
Sorry.
No, but that's a good conversation for the board to have, because
Yeah.
why should there be a distinction when it's an individual using it, other than the fact that they're taxpayers here?
Right,
But should there be a distinction between not-for-profits if they're in or out, if they're providing a general, public service? That's a philosophical debate that you all should have.
right. I mean, because it was noted in the minutes here that this organization has nothing to do with the Bethany Historical Society, even though it does antique goods and such.
Yeah.
Did anyone check to see if they really are a nonprofit?
I mean, it's an what is the letter? Ben, can you pull it up? on your-
Do you have the sheet with their name?
Yeah, Gina, can you pass down the
Oh,
letter? to
sure,
I can see the name of it? Thank you.
Did we check? Did we do the due diligence? Are they a not, a nonprofit?
I just want to say, Bob, I like the idea of,
Kind of clarify.
clarifying and writing down. And I just do want to also say that I'm sort of, just thinking about it here very quickly without reviewing anything in writing. I like the idea of out of town nonprofits and for-profits being treated differently.
Like this gentleman is a Bethany resident, but this organization is not a town
Right.
organization, so now you start to get, does he get a resident rate, or is it, so it's, how do we sort of break it down? So while he's checking that, I'm gonna, give you this, because this is the next item, which I'm gonna bring up with, then while you're checking, we're just gonna move on to the next item, and then we'll bounce back, just to, in lieu of everyone's time here. These are additional town officers whose terms run concurrent with the board. Some of them are approved by me, but we just put them all on this one list because then we'll have a record of them all being approved since our new terms took effect on Saturday. So if you can take a look at all of those, and then if I can have a motion to approve all of these town officers for the new terms.
So these are 2-year terms?
They run concurrent with the selectmen and the board of selectmen, yeah.
So several of them, it says that you appoint them.
I appoint them, but I figured I'm gonna appoint them anyway, so just to have them all on record in tonight's meeting,
Okay.
that they're being approved. So I just need a motion.
I would move to appoint,
She has the list, so
the candidates here as listed here, 1 through 8.
And then she can put them into the minutes as presented. Can I get a second?
A
Brian?
second, yeah, number 8, Robin Glowa needs a at the end of
Oh,
her.
yes, okay.
uh,
Thank you for the catch. Okay. All right, all with that adjustment, all in favor of the officers as presented?
Aye.
Okay, fantastic. And so this will be the last item unless he pops up with the information.
So, right, so
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'm not finding anything on the Secretary of State's website now. The nonprofit, when you form an organization in any state, you can be a for-profit corporation and not-for-profit corporation. It's a designation, a statutory designation. This appears to be a club, so it very well just may not be a legal entity like a corporation or something like that. It says, welcome to Antique Tools and Trades in Connecticut, a club devoted to collecting, buying, and selling trading old tools, as well as collecting and sharing knowledge of obsolete trades and crafts. And then it references a Barry Doohan, who is now deceased, who must have been an organizer of it. So it sounds like it's more of a, again, I cannot find anything on the Secretary of State's website under the business search. Even a nonprofit would be listed there if it was properly formed as a corporation or not.
501c3.
So according to the letter, this person has,
He does say it's a nonprofit club.
Right, I don't know what a nonprofit club is.
Right, is it a 501c3?
Well, that we'd have to check the IRS's website. But generally what you would do is if you're forming a 501c3, you would establish it as a not-for-profit corporation. And then that's a designation with the IRS. So this individual has rented the Veterans Lodge for the past 3 years for purposes of hosting this event. But the nonprofit club doesn't appear to be anything that's legally formed in the state of Connecticut based on my quick search, but they do have a website. And
it says buying and selling.
it's Welcome to Attic, which is the acronym for the name Antique Tools and Trades in Connecticut. And it talks about its purpose. They have two gatherings a year, spring and fall. It has contact information, email addresses. Actually a more robust website than I would have thought it would be. So, but when it talks about the about, it doesn't have any designation as an LLC or an Inc. or anything like that after the name. So,
I wonder if this person used the term nonprofit as just a statement of fact that they don't
Right.
have profit instead of the legal term.
right, it could be more of an educational club where they're promoting this, kind of the discussion and the learning of these antique tools and trades. And nonprofit, as you just said, they're not charging for the gathering or the,
I mean, it said-
Providing a
they
service.
charge $10 for membership, I believe it said in there somewhere.
it says,
Second
yeah, the
paragraph,
dues are $10,000 a year.
Membership.
to encourage membership. So it's whatever your pleasure is. Has there been any issues with this organization that you're aware of in the last 2 years?
None that I am aware of, and like I say, COVID kind of shut us down for a couple of years, so I mean, I don't know his rental for 3 years, may have been this past January, maybe. But I don't recall him asking for.
And
a
they're not
waiver
looking
this
they're
past
not looking
January.
to serve food or alcohol at the lodge. It's just the first
Setting.
Saturday of November, following the new year.
Right.
I think it'd be helpful to see this in writing too, because if this weren't a town resident, then it would be easier, right?
Right, right. So, I mean, do we not look at the residence part of it and just look at the club part of it?
I don't see how you can not look at the fact that he lives there in town, though.
I mean, if he went to another town to rent somewhere, he'd be a non-resident renter, so to speak. If they were
Right,
trying
so-
some other
So
facility.
that's an
I don't
interesting
know.
question. If a person is looking to rent it, so this person is a Bethany resident, but put that aside for the moment.
Right.
I just simply want to rent the lodge for use on this given day. Is it available? How, other than saying, I'm not serving alcohol, I'm not, things that are not violations of any rules that you may have. How deep do you get into, well, what are you doing there? I just want to rent it and sit on the deck and stare at the lake all day, who knows, or I want to have 100 people there.
Yeah.
So
So he just happens to be part of this club, so
Right.
do we charge him the residential fee?
As you've been saying, you don't ask, was it a family party or are you?
Right,
Right,
Is it you're bringing your business for
right.
Christmas party?
Because rather than focusing so much on right now, what is attic?
right.
Right, it's, well, what are they gonna be doing there? What is, are they gonna have 50 people
And
there or
I believe you
1,000?
have to have a COI. No matter what.
Right.
So,
Right. So as long as they're properly insured and not doing anything that's in violative of your rules, otherwise, how much do you want to get into? Policing the activity?
mhm.
What would the rental rate be for a town resident who wants to rent it?
The town is $450. Or did we raise it again? I don't know, we've been bouncing it a few times, so I'm trying to think of what the last.
It's 450 or 475 for residents. And it's 100 more for non-residents.
It's like 450 is kind of sticking in my head, and then 550 for. Because now we've also changed it where there is a $50 reservation fee, which is separate from the actual rental fee.
That is, yeah, so rental is available in 6-hour increments,
Mhm.
including setup and cleanup.
Mhm.
Any additional time is charged at full rate. Rental costs $450 for residents, $575 for non-residents.
That's what it was.
Additional $50 non-refundable reservation fee due its time schedule.
So it sounds like he could rent it as a
He could rent it
Town
as
As a
resident.
resident. As a resident, yeah.
So that should give him. That would be consistent with our current.
Right.
Policy.
Right.
And then that would give him a reduction over what he thought he was gonna have to pay.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll work on in the future, reviewing writing down what we do now and seeing if we wanna keep it the
Right,
same.
I mean, we're basically basing it on the fact that he is a resident. So we're
Mhm.
making that decision based on. He's a resident and he's using for the purpose of his club. If I'm understanding our conversation correctly. Right?
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
because it's,
Okay.
who's the renter? For the sake of
And
this.
he's a resident,
It appears to be signed by the person individually, not this person on behalf of this entity.
Right.
right,
So. Under that, would seem to qualify as being a residential renter.
Right.
Entitled to that
right,
reduced fee.
Right.
But he's going to use it for this organizational purpose.
so do we want, someone want to make a motion to, I will get back to him and let him know that we're giving him the residential rate with the reservation fee as applicable, and, we're good to go from there.
Motion or,
Yeah, motion,
okay, motion to charge, Mr. Sistrand the resident rate
and then the non-refundable.
and all the regular rates that
Right.
are.
The applicable
yeah.
reservation fee.
It sounds like an interesting nonprofit, and I'm gonna second that motion.
Okay. Any other conversation or questions? All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, I will get back to Mr. Sisban and let him know what the decision was. We did the nominations for the officers. We approved those, and then the next item is this is actually the last item. Do you need a copy, Leslie? This is the Park and Rec.
No, I got that one already.
Okay, the Park and Rec Department has been investigating different software to help them with their record keeping and sending out invoices to people, just kind of staying on top of registrations and that kind of thing. So they did the word completely went out of my head right now, a demo. They did a demo and came up with this company. So I need your authorization to be able to sign this agreement for them to move forward. We'd like to have this up and running by March 1st so that we can have it all set for when they start getting summer camp registrations. Because that's when they have a really large chunk of kids, so it'd be easier for them to help with their record keeping and stuff. So take a moment to look at it. This literally was sent to me Friday night, so.
Yeah, the money's in the Park and Rec budget.
Leslie?
The money is not in the fiscal year 24 Park and Rec budget for it. However, there was additional money set aside when the monies were set aside for in the ARPA program for new software exploration. So I would propose taking the first year out of the ARPA funds because it is software that does not exist at the moment for the town. And then this fee will have to be built into their budget every year going forward.
Does the finance board have to vote on using the ARPA money also? Or
Yes.
they already designated it for.
Well,
software?
there are funds earmarked for software
Okay.
on the ARPA sheet.
Does anyone know if, there's a fee for the software that's being used now?
There
They
isn't
don't
a
have any
software being
software
used
now.
by Park and Rec right now.
So what is
Everything
that?
is done in Excel.
Oh,
Yeah, so. it's a
For
little
Park and
harder
Rec,
to keep
everything
track
is
of-
done
to
in
keep track of
Excel.
Everything, so this is why we've been kind of pushing for them to investigate this and get this done, so it's a little easier to streamline record keeping.
so when I go on to the Park and Rec website and say, you know, what program I want, that's all through Excel?
Pretty much. yeah.
It's all a manual system for them
Okay.
Yeah.
downstairs.
So this will definitely be better record keeping
Yes.
and, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you'll be able to establish a family profile, a child profile, and we'll get roster printouts. There are other towns currently using My Rec, and they have worked, they have gone on other. Can't remember which town it is. They have gone on the other two other towns that are using this, and they have actually registered gone through the whole program registration on it to see how easy it is to use before they even had the demo with the company.
And to, also send out invoices if someone owes,
Yeah.
a balance of some kind, it will help them to, do those.
Do they take payments through this?
They will continue to, it will continue to have the payment link that they have right now.
Can I have a motion to approve me signing this so that they can move forward with the implementation?
I ask a question about this. Since I asked about this, how much is this?
Less than $6,000.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we weren't, it wasn't gonna be a shock.
Most software costs
A
a lot.
lot, yes, yeah. They were doing their due diligence to make sure that it was, user friendly and reasonably, priced as well, so.
I'll move to have, you move ahead with signing.
Okay.
Do you
I'll
agree with that?
second it. Yep.
Okay. Or in favor?
Aye.
All right. Those were my three items that came after the fact, so I appreciate, us adding them on and getting them taken care of. Anything else? I know you're brand new, so you really haven't had a chance to come up with any other ideas yet. That may be different in January, but, if we have nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Want to do it, Gina, or shall I?
You can
Move
adjourn.
adjournment.
Second,
A second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and it is 7:35 and the meeting is now. Thank you.
Is that a
so
record?
much.
Thank you.
All right.